So somebody approached me, and this is probably 3-4 months ago. And they said, I'm getting charged with a crime. I said, well, tell me what happened. He goes, well, I've got this 1911 45 caliber pistol, TRP, nice gun, by the way. Not many rounds through it. And I took it to the range, and I wanted to put some rounds down range. And I wound up not getting the ejection that I needed. I don't want to say extraction. It wasn't pulling out of the chamber after the round was fired. And it kept jamming, and he couldn't figure out why. And the gun was a little old, and he didn't use it very much. In fact, there probably 100 rounds or less through the barrel. And he took it home and said, well, let me try and clean it. He went out to his garage, and he went to his workbench, and he broke the gun down, and he cleaned it, and he put it back together. And then he made his first mistake. He wanted to see if it was going to extract after he cleaned it. So he tried that with live rounds. He put a live round into the chamber, and it extracted. And then he put a live round into the chamber and shot himself through the hand. Because in order to work the slide on the 45, you generally have to put your hand over the top to work the slide, make it come back. Either that or you got to pull it from behind, which probably would have been the safest option. But his hand was covering the muzzle, and he shot himself directly through the hand with a 45 caliber bullet, which hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. Hurts physically. It hurts your pride. There's a lot of hurt there. But okay, he unintentionally shot himself. He was doing something that I think most gun owners would describe as not responsible. Like this isn't normal operating procedure when it comes to firearms. He probably should have used a dummy round or whatever. There's plenty of criticism to levy on this guy, but absolutely. I mean, he could have used a blank brass and an expended cartridge. He could have used that. I mean, it would have been the same thing. That's what's coming out, not a live. An expended cartridge is coming out. At the very least, he could have just not touched the trigger. That might have solved some problems there. But anyway, so then what happened though? So okay, he now has a pretty serious injury, and I'm assuming he has to go to the hospital.
Yeah, it's that old line: no pull, no boom, and he pulled and boomed. The thing one of the things he was most pissed about was the bullet went through and directly in the center of the end, and went into the light fixture of his car because it was in the garage, and that cost him a good bit of money to replace the light assembly. The bullet never left the garage. Bullet was embedded in the light assembly after going through his hand, and he was bleeding. So he drove himself to the hospital. Now, when you get to a hospital in California and you have a gunshot wound, they are mandatory reporters. So the cops showed up at the hospital, spoke to him, took a report, said, okay, and went away. He fixed his hand, went home the next day, same day, had some surgery in his hand because the hand's got a lot of bones in it, a lot of nerves, a lot of muscles, and he wants it to function. So he had surgery on it and was gone after that. A little while later, he got a notification complaint from the San Diego City Attorney's Office. He had committed a crime.
Here we go.
According to the San Diego City Attorney. Any idea what crime he had committed?
Discharge of a firearm in city limits?
That'd be my bet. Is that what it was? Discharge of a firearm within city limits?
What do you think?
Something along the lines of negligence, maybe?
Discharging firearm within the city limits. That is exactly what he was charged with. The city attorney charged somebody for shooting themselves accidentally.
In their own home. Projectile never left the home.
Projectile never left the home. This isn't some drunk idiot going out on New Year's Eve and firing rounds into the air. This is some lawful gun owner doing something that he probably shouldn't have done without the intent to discharge the firearm and wound up shooting himself.
And this is again
costing himself a lot of time, money, and pain.
And this is no longer Mara Elliott, although it's still, her office in the sense that everybody that works there was pretty much hired and trained by her. They just switched over to a new guy, Brian Manshire.
Heather Ferber.
Oh, I'm sorry, Heather. Yeah, Heather Ferber. But she was trained by, she's like Mara Elliott Jr. Like there's no daylight between those two. She was hired to continue to do all the things that Mara Elliott was doing. It is an extremist office as far as being anti-gun. I mean, they're extremely anti-gun. We've talked about them before. So what's the harshest punishment for this violation? Had he been convicted and they threw the book at him, what would be the harshest punishment for this?
Well, he hired me and we went to court. And I show up in court and he's been charged with a municipal code violation, not a penal code violation, a municipal code violation, a City of San Diego ordinance.
I'm curious.
And that municipal code violation is a misdemeanor. And that misdemeanor carries with it a maximum punishment of 6 months in custody and $1,000 fine. So when we show up in court, I'm expecting a quick dismissal and an apology because this clearly was filed in error. No rational and reasonable prosecutor would think that, yeah, I'm going to charge somebody after he shoots himself accidentally in his garage. But this prosecutor did. And you're right on that. Heather Ferber is an acolyte of Mara Elliott. Mara Elliott was in power for 8 hours and became the leading light of the anti-gun movement in the United States.
Yeah, 8
Certainly
years. She was in office for 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. So you're right on that most of the prosecutors in her office were hired by Mara Elliott. I'd say probably close to 40-50% of them came through her watch.
What was can you talk about the interaction between you and the prosecutor when you what was their attitude towards the case? Are you able to go into that?
Sure, the prosecutor in the courtroom was quite reasonable. He wasn't the person that had filed the case. Mm-hmm. He understood my position, may not have agreed with it, but understood it. But here's the kicker. I'll give you a guess. What was their offer to settle the case? Now, this is a 60-plus-year-old retired veteran with no criminal history. Never been arrested or charged with a crime, never been investigated for a crime, served his country honorably for 30 years, retired from the military, and is now a senior citizen. What does a reasonable prosecutor offer that person for a negligent discharge, harming only himself?
I don't know which way to go with this. I'm going to say I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say like some minimal jail time, like, or something like that, a week, a month in jail or something like that. I don't know.
They didn't go for jail, but they did want to place this retired veteran senior citizen on 1 year of probation, and they wanted him to pay a multi-dollar fine, and they wanted him to destroy his gun, and they wanted him to have a Fourth Amendment waiver, meaning that he could be searched and seized at any time without probable cause.
Jeez.
Was there a specific charge?
We're not done yet. They wanted him to work on the freeway for 5 days, and they wanted him to destroy his $1,400 gun.
Just that gun, or would he have ended up being a prohibited person for a while, or?
He wouldn't have been a prohibited person for that municipal code violation.
But just that gun, they specifically said that gun that you used, even though I'm sure this guy had other firearms, that gun has to be destroyed?
Well, clearly, Michael, that gun is evil.
Yeah.
And that gun must be destroyed.
That gun now has a taste for blood, Gary. So
it does. You got to put it down. It's like guns are like pit bulls.
Yeah.
You can never tell when they're going to get up on their own and attack somebody.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's amazing.
So I was astonished. Literally, my jaw dropped. And I've been doing this 34 years. My jaw dropped when I saw that. And I said, you can't. I was looking around, I was looking at the cameras in the courtroom, wondering if this was like a candid camera test to see how I would react, to see if I'd lose my crap.
You're getting punked by Ashton Kutcher. Not this time. This is real life.
I expected him to come through the back and say I was being punked, based on what they were offering. It was staggeringly ridiculous.
So what was the result? How did it end for your client?
Well, I was fully intended to say, screw you guys. I'm going to take you to trial, but I didn't want to have my client pay for that. I'd probably done it for free. They weren't getting a conviction on this. There was no willfulness. There was no intent. There was no knowledge. They can't get a negligent discharge in the sense of, it's not gross negligence. It's just simple, ordinary negligence. So I was convinced I would have won a trial, but I didn't want to go that route. And I asked them to dismiss, and they wouldn't. And the middle ground they came up with, well, let's do diversion, which is the client doesn't plead guilty, but he has to jump through a lot of hoops. And, 6 months, a year down the road, it'll be dismissed. And I wasn't a fan of that either. What did we settle on? We settled on a speeding ticket. My client pled guilty to an infraction through me. He wasn't in court. And he paid a $200 fine.
$200 fine, and it wasn't a misdemeanor. It certainly wasn't a felony, and he's good to go.
He's good to go. Walks away. It doesn't exist anymore. Paid his $200, no probation, nothing else. He kept his gun, which, by the way, I bought from him because I'm a fan of evil guns, and so I added that to my collection. The only gun in my collection that's ever shot anybody.
You're like the what's that guy, Caesar Milan? You're like the Caesar Milan of
the gun whisperer
of 1911. Yeah, you're the gun whisperer.
I go out and whisper to that gun in my gun safe every now and again, just to be sure that we're on good terms.
Yeah. Well, awesome job for your client. I just wanted to get the details there and talk about just how bad the San Diego City Attorney's Office is. Anything else? Any other details you want to, or anything else you want to say about?
Yeah, I just think this is a perfect encapsulation of the knee-jerk anti-gun, gun-hating, Second Amendment hating, gun owner hating philosophy of the San Diego City Attorney's Office.
Yeah.
And here's a perfect example, and I'm not just making this up as hyperbole. The state of California has 35 million people. The county of San Diego has 3.5 million people, about. That means we have 10% of the population of California. We file 33% of the gun violence restraining orders filed in California come out of San Diego County. And they're specifically because of Mara Elliott and her desire to abolish both the Second Amendment and gun owners who have a right to have their own gun. She has trained when she was in office most of the state on how to file gun violence restraining orders. If you think the gun violence restraining order process is being abused in the state of California, particularly in the city of San Diego, Mara Elliott is almost exclusively responsible for your belief that it is being abused. And nothing has changed. Heather Furbert is just Mara Elliott 2.0 with regard to citizens' gun rights.
Yeah. And I want to talk more about that. Thank you, Gary. Awesome job. Thank you so much for all that you do for your clients and for Gun Owners Radio and San Diego County gun owners. You are truly a blessing here in San Diego, and I appreciate your commitment to the rule of law and helping people in the Second Amendment. You're awesome. Thank you, Gary. And thank you for, by the way, your seminar that you did last Wednesday was phenomenal. I'm getting all kinds of feedback. People loved it. I thought it went really, really well. What to do after a defensive gun use. It went over like gangbusters. So thank you for all that you do.
Thanks. I really enjoyed that. And the best part of it was I left with that magnificent floral centerpiece that is now sitting on my dining room table. So I am forever indebted to San Diego County gun owners for that floral centerpiece.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, cool, Gary. Thanks so much for visiting with us. Appreciate you telling the story. Hey, thanks for watching Gun Owners Radio. I hope you loved that clip. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on social media. And check out our website at gunownersradio.com.